I'm here with Chris Boggs. Chris is an authority figure in SEO and paid search advertising. In 2007, he joined Brulant as the manager of the SEO team. Brulant was purchased in 2008 by Rosetta. He's worked in search engine marketing since 2000, starting in-house and then venturing into a consulting role in 2002. He's experienced in directing and performing SEO from keyword research and PPC to content development and linking strategies. He's actively involved in the SEM community, speaking regularly at SES conferences, and is an expert columnist for the Search Engine Watch blog. He is a moderator and associate editor for the Search Engine Watch forums, and is an associate editor for the Search Engine Roundtable. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm good. I'm also a Sagittarius now.
That's good to know.
and one more thing is I am on the board of directors of SEMPO, which is a search engine marketing professionals organization. So anyone who's not aware of that, it's a great organization supporting search marketing and analytics worldwide.
Great. Well, without further ado, we'll go on with the first question. You've been in the business a long time. What fundamental values have remained timeless through each generation of search marketing?
I would say that people expect results, and the way that we've started to become more able to measure results has greatly grown since 2000. In the past, where people would simply be happy where if they were just ranking on the page for their particular happy keyword that makes them happy that they're ranking for, I think that as marketers have evolved and become more understanding of the fundamentals of search marketing, they realize that there's a lot more than just ranking. So analytics, fortunately, has grown along with us. I would say that analytics is probably growing at the same pace as potentially medicine or surgery techniques, but the ability to track and measure what you're doing online is really what's enabled us to sustain our growth even in these tough economic times.
Great. What's different? How has the industry changed, and where do you see things going from here?
Well, I see more and more of the need to be able to be accountable for the work that you're doing. There was an interesting session this morning at SES that I moderated where someone mentioned where in the past SEOs were able to get by on the fact that they're providing incremental growth. Now we're being held to stricter standards. I think it's not just, and sometimes I think it crosses over into usability issues, so I've a few times had to become on the defensive and be like, look, we're bringing the horse to water, we're yanking its head down, but it's up to the horse as to whether or not it drinks it, and the yanking its head down part is really kind of usability side of things. So one of the things that's, I think, really important is to consider your user when you're considering all this, and not necessarily always place all the omen for success on just the search team, because a lot of what has to do with the end conversion is really the calls to action on the page, the way the page is designed, and the need for the product.
Sure. In this time of economic downturn, how has pitch for SEO business changed?
Well, that's actually, I think it's become, it's an opportunity for us, because typically one of the things that I used to say way back when was that paid search is kind of like death and taxes, right? Every time someone clicks on your listing, you're paying. The one good thing about SEO, even if you are engaging, which you should be, in an ongoing SEO program to help build your links and to re-optimize pages and add content as trends change and keyword usage changes and evolves. The way that the pitch has changed is that, hey, SEO is long-term ROI. You're going to get a lot more value typically from every dollar you invest in SEO than from every dollar you invest in paid search. Not trying to throw my paid search brethren and sistren under in front of the bus there, but the fact is that having both is still going to increase the potential. There's plenty of research that shows that having listings both on the paid and the organic side is much better than just having one or the other. But right now, if you look at ROI models, we have got one client that is pretty phenomenal. They do a cost per application metric, and it winds up to about $20 or so for every application that they're generating as a result of SEO, versus paid search, which is somewhere up in the $50 to $60 range, and which still smokes all their other advertising. So it's just a matter of first of all gaining the prospective client's trust, I think, maybe venturing into a smaller SEO engagement, or focusing on a specific area of the site in order to gain their trust. And then as you do gain the trust, having them decide to go ahead and participate in more SEO efforts to really get their site ranking for as many keywords as possible.
Great. When you get the invariable "what's the ROI of SEO" question from a client, how do you answer them in this age of personalized search?
That's a great two-part question there, especially following your last question. ROI from SEO has always been very difficult to measure, either for past efforts and definitely to predict for future efforts. There's too many moving parts. Not to toot my own horn, but if you search SEO ROI at Google, on the top page you should see a couple articles that I wrote in 2007 about measuring SEO. There's just so many moving parts, right? So with personalized search, that's a big question nowadays too. I feel that personalized search doesn't really change anything, right? You're still going to have to be showing up within the first couple, 3 pages for someone to pick your listing as being the one that they like the most. There probably are some minor factors in terms of some of the tagging that you may be able to do, or some of the content you may be able to do, if you really can understand your target segment. And then you could slightly change the content, or the way that the slant of the content, maybe from more informational to more conversion oriented, based on what your likely target segment is going to be searching. But you need some pretty deep insight into how your target thinks in order to do that. Now, deep dive segmentation is something that's very valuable, and it's going to become more and more valuable, and I think personalization is one of the things that's going to help drive the value in really understanding your customer better, because then you can start to even further build pages to answer those customers' needs.
Great. You've been moderating forums for many years. How has your deep history as a forum moderator prepared you for modern social media?
Oh, it's great. It's funny because I learned way back when that you have to respect the community, right? It's like Cartman says, respect my authority, and I would say respect the community. And that's really the number one rule that I learned in participating in forums. I owe a lot to originally Danny Sullivan, who ran the SES conferences, and Elizabeth Odzimlowski, who's here this week actually, who invited me to become a moderator at the Search Engine Watch forums. And back then I was able to put a lot more time into it. I worked at a smaller agency, and my boss there was very willing to have me communicate within the industry. So that helped me not only to learn tremendous amounts of knowledge about search and to bounce ideas off of people, but it also really taught me kind of how social communities are, and that it's a matter of respect and sharing. And quite frankly, if you have problems with a social community, you can always just go to another browser, right? That's one of the things that kind of concerns me nowadays, is that people get into these little catfights in social communities and on forums and so forth, and talking about he did this or she did that, where in fact all they have to do is just go away if they're not happy with it. It's not like they're forced to sit in the room with the person and listen to them, or whatever the case may be. They can simply go to another browser. So there's a lot of things that forum use taught me about today's social communities, and I think that it would probably actually make a good article. I'll have to think about maybe using that one.
Here at SES, there's many attendees who are just now migrating to search from traditional advertising endeavors. What words of advice can you share for agencies and individuals getting serious about search?
Well, just remember the 4 Ps, or the 5 Ps of marketing that you learned in Marketing 101, right? It's price, product, place, promotion. And the 5th P is that some people sometimes pull in is, I can't remember right now, but I'm sure maybe someone can comment to this video as to what that 5th P is. But it's really important to remember that search marketing is just like any other marketing, right? You have to get your message out there. The main difference between search marketing and more traditional marketing is that search is probably the strongest form of pull marketing that exists. You're not pushing marketing onto someone that may or may not be interested in a particular product or service, whereas with search, you have the advantage of having them always have already an interest in your product or learning about your service because of their behavior. They've just searched, they've typed into a search box something that's very relevant to that. So take that as an advantage and really look to satisfy with answers to their needs. Everyone uses the internet for information, exchange of information. So if you're able to answer their needs Look for what some people call the hidden keyword, which is maybe not something that they typed into the box, but it is an emotion or a result as of to using your product or your service that could maybe be the thing that causes them to click on your listing. Look for those opportunities in your creative endeavors, and don't think just simply about having to push it onto them, because they're already there and they're willing to listen. So get past that first step of trying to push it onto them and listen to them. Again, back to what we talked about earlier, segmentation and understanding what your customer wants is going to be very important and valuable in guiding you to do that.
Great. Well, thanks so much for your time, Chris, and we'll look forward to hearing you speak.
Thank you, Manny, and it was a pleasure to meet you, and hi out there to Marty. I wish you were here.
All right.